Bill, today, panic selling. I'm telling you, I don't know what's going on lately, but I ran into 2 or 3 people that I'm doing pre-sale inspections, and I'm talking to the sellers, and they're like panic, like, oh my God, I can't sell, I have to sell this house within a week. I got called back to work, or,
Oh, okay.
So is there panic selling going on in Florida? Because it seems like the last few people I've been talking to on the pre-sale inspections, they're like, it's panic. They're like panicking. They're like, oh my God, I gotta sell this house.
Okay, if you get called back to work, I know that they are calling people back.
So that's what we're going to talk about today, is panic selling. Do me a favor, if you like this kind of content, consider subscribe to the channel. So let's talk about it. Is there panic selling happening in Florida? That's what we're talking about today. So basically, let's talk about a few things. Some people are saying there's going to be panic selling because of skyrocketing home insurance costs. Many homeowners are struggling to afford rapidly increasing insurance premiums. True or false?
No, that's true. Insurance is insane.
Are people selling their house just because of insurance?
I don't think they're selling their house just because of insurance, but I think it's kind of the nail in the coffin, if you will.
I agree. I know some people that live on the canals. Okay.
Different story, though.
Different story. Along the water, they're like, you know what? I could go bare. They don't have a mortgage. I said they could go bare, but now with the 2 hurricanes we just had, they're like, I'm going to get insurance. Okay.
Yeah.
But their insurance quotes was $12,000 a year.
Right. Yeah. That's what's
$1,000
coming out
a month
right
on a fixed budget.
Right, and that's unattainable to most people.
Here's another thing why people are saying there's panic selling going on. Agree or disagree? High property taxes, rising property taxes due to increased home values, making owning a home more expensive.
Okay, but we got to talk about this one. So if you sell your house because your property taxes went up, so now you're going to buy a house where your property taxes are going to go up. That doesn't make sense.
But a lot of people are actually, and for nothing, there's people leaving Florida now. They're going to places like, look at U-Haul. U-Haul just did a survey, last month we did a video, that more people are moving to South Carolina right now than Florida and Texas, the one-way trips.
Right, but are they leaving Florida and Texas to go there, or are they just they're just not coming to Florida? And I think...
Well, there's still people moving in Florida, okay?
Yeah, we haven't slowed down, really.
But there's more people. There's less people moving into Florida, and there's more people moving out. It's not like it was during the unicorn years that, remote work, I could just work from anywhere.
Yeah, during the unicorn years, the people was crazy. We're back to more of a normal, maybe a little under normal, just because of the recent hurricanes and the issues that we've had there. It's tough for people, but that's going to wear off. Give it a season, and that's going to wear off.
Here's another reason why there's some panic selling going on, according to people I speak to. Okay, economic recession. The downturn in economy could force homeowners to sell quickly and avoid financial distress. They're afraid. They're like, I better sell now before there's a collapse. Now we have, Trump in office, but at the same time, people are talking about tariffs and they're talking about this, that. So everybody's saying there's going to be a little bit of pain before things get better. They're saying that.
But we've been saying that even with mortgage rates. There's got to be some pain before things get better.
But mortgage rates aren't going down.
Right, no, and they're not expected to go down either. They've come down, and they're kind of stabilized in that 7% range right now. The CPI report just came out a couple days ago. Yesterday, I take that back. It was yesterday.
Okay, I didn't see it.
Neither have I. So, I just heard a little snippet that the CPI report wasn't as great as expected. So, it's... They
said the inflation was about 3%. But look at a dozen eggs. Now because of the bird flu, I went to go get eggs, and they limited it to me to 2 dozen eggs, and they were pretty damn expensive.
Right.
But my point is, people are seeing what's going on in the news. It doesn't matter who's in office. And I said that on videos.
Yep.
I said that on videos last year, that it doesn't matter who's in office right now. The first 6 months is going to be difficult. And I still believe that, okay? But people are like, I'm thinking about selling 3 or 4 months from now, but maybe I should sell it now before it's too late. And that's panic selling.
Yeah, but I would say, why are you going to sell in 3 or 4 months versus today? What's the difference? What's making that drastic change, and really try to help get people to understand why they're doing something. You know, the job as a real estate professional is not just to list the house and sell it or show you houses and buy houses, but it's really to help you understand the motivation and present options. We're the professionals. We're just like if you went to a financial planner, you know what you kind of want to accomplish, but they can dig out by asking questions, other things, and then they can help you plan to reach your goals. So understanding what your goals are will help the real estate professionals
True.
figure out, you know, because I have no problem telling you that you should keep your house and renovate it or keep your house and hold, because you just can't meet your numbers or what your goals are.
Well, don't panic, basically.
Yeah,
don't panic on that one.
Panicking is never, making a decision under super stress like that where you're panicking is not the best of circumstances.
So here's another reason why there's panic selling going on, according to people. Job losses, unemployment, major job cuts based in Florida-based industries could lead to forced home sales. There's been a lot of job cuts happening. There has been. The big corporations are saying, hey, you know, we're going to cut back, you know, jobs. And people are like, hey, it's my job on the chopping block. And that could be enough saying, remember we kept saying if you need 2 incomes to make the mortgage, but one of the incomes is like, oh, you know, not as stable.
Right.
That could cause panic selling.
That could definitely cause, and that would be one of those situations where, you know, if you're in a position where you think you're going to lose your job and that you might have to go out of state, that might be a smart idea.
Yeah. And some people, believe it or not, you know, are panic selling because they're like, hey, interest rates aren't going down. They might go up. Some people, you know, because a lot of people do these opinion pieces on YouTube, okay?
Yeah.
And these different social media platforms. And some of them, you know, scare people to, you know, panic sell. You know, I saw one YouTube video that they think that the rates are going to go if inflation goes up, this is what he was saying, okay? If inflation goes up, they might increase rates dramatically, that a mortgage rate will be like double digits, say 10%, okay? And in return, nobody's going to buy a house. And I do think that if mortgage rates did get to 10%, we would get hurt, real estate market.
But there's other, if we get that high, there's a lot of other things going on too, besides just the real estate market.
All right, what about this one, panic selling? Everybody, you go into YouTube, okay, and do housing collapse, you know, housing bubble, okay? And they're going to be talking about Texas and Florida. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are going to be talking about Florida. It's not just one video channel, you know, one channel. There's a lot of them. I actually did it, and I think I counted maybe 20, 25. That it's just talking about housing bubble in Florida.
It's the hot topic right now. I watch them just to stay up on the content, but it gets depressing sometimes.
I know why they do it. Okay, when you have two choices to watch two videos. Okay, one is, all right, the market's going to collapse in Florida. It's going to be a housing bubble. And another video saying, okay, the housing market's going to boom and it's going to be great. Which one are you going to gravitate towards?
The negative.
Right. It's just human nature. Here's another reason. Investors are starting to dump a lot of their homes in Florida.
That's true, 100%. And a lot of that has to do with the insurance rates. And, you know, some of these properties, investors, depending on the type of investment it is, if it's a short-term or mid-term rental, those are generally along the coast. And they're looking at
Airbnbs, all that stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
They're looking at their numbers, and it's time to get out.
People are worried about if the stock market crashes, it's going to affect housing, which it would.
Which, of course, it would. It's going to affect everything.
Here's one that would cause panic selling. The pre-foreclosure is increasing dramatically. It's just a fact. There's more people 30, 60, 90 days behind, you know, since pre-pandemic. You know, it's rapidly increasing because, see, during the unicorn years, everybody just wanted a house. And they kind of stretched things. You know, they did. They settled for homes that they couldn't afford, or they settled for homes that they didn't even really want. There's a lot of buyers' regrets right now. Mm-hmm. So they're like, well, we didn't want this house originally, and we have what, a $3,400, what is it, the average mortgage, $3,400?
Yeah, because that's right around that 400 to 430 more, home price.
So if foreclosures are going up, and a lot of these people are like, you know what, that could be us, let's sell before things get worse.
And then my question would be, just if this is something that's kind of resonating for you, I would say, where are you going to go? And really sit down and do the numbers. Are you going to become a renter? And then you're not gaining any equity whatsoever. But if you're concerned that the market's going to crash, you're going to lose all your equity, it would make sense that you're going to rent. Or are you just going to move to another area where everything's a little less expensive? So you're going to take your where you can sell high, because you've heard me say before, you don't sell high and buy low. It's hard. That's a very hard combination. It's, sell high, buy high. But if you're going to move to a different area, it's a different story.
All right, let's switch topics, okay? Panic selling still, but instead of all that stuff we just talked about, let's talk about climate and natural disasters.
Okay.
Hurricane damage and frequency. Repeated hurricane damage could make properties uninsurable and too expensive to maintain. But people are panicking because we're not in hurricane season right now, but we will be in a couple of months.
Right.
And I know one person in particular that's like, oh my God, we live on a canal. We just fixed this house. We got flooded twice before hurricane season is starting. We need to sell it before hurricane season starts. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's a real concern?
Of course it is. Those are people who have had very traumatic incidents happen to them, and they're just done. They're wiped. They don't want to deal with this again. They got their house fixed. Now they're going to list it, and they're done.
But they want to sell it before.
Well, they don't want to take the chance of another hurricane coming and them reliving this again, because at the end of the day, nobody knows what's going to happen.
So here's another one. Florida homeowners are losing affordable flood insurance, making homes harder to sell.
Yes.
So there's people that own homes, and maybe the neighborhood down the street, now it's hard to get flood insurance. So like, oh my God, what if our neighborhood is next? Okay, nobody's going to buy this house if they can't get flood insurance. We're in a freaking flood zone.
Right. And a lot of people don't want to be, I can't tell you how many phone calls that I take from customers that say, I do not want to be in a flood zone, because they understand it's so widespread now. They understand how much flood insurance increases their insurance premiums. I've got a customer I'm working with right now that I know the area that he lived in, because it's right by where I grew up. And I can tell you 110%, he's on a canal, not on the coast, but he's on one of the the tributaries that comes up in, but it does get affected. He's up far enough where it doesn't get affected by tidal surge so much. But I know 100% that place is never ever flooded, not even during the last two storms. But he's in an AE flood zone because of the proximity to the water, and his insurance is insane.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And that's, I think, a reason why he's wanting to sell.
Yeah, listen, the next two, I don't agree with them, okay? But I don't disagree with him, but okay, let me explain. Rising sea levels and erosion. Coastal properties face increases from erosion and flooding, driving owners to sell before value drops further. Okay, Bill's been living here all his life, okay? And there's always beach erosion.
Oh, it's natural.
Okay, I just came back from St. Augustine, okay? And the beach there was wiped out 2 years ago during a hurricane. Like, literally, the water was splashing against the seawall. Now, we went back there recently, and the water is like they brought all the sand back in. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was beach erosion from the hurricane. It's been happening for thousands of years. Bill could talk more about this, but, from when you were a kid at the beach, okay, and the piers and stuff, what do you think about, everybody saying Florida's going to be underwater?
I've been hearing that since I can remember when I was 8 years old, and we've got geography class. And they've been talking about that forever. Is erosion a real thing? Absolutely it is. I mean, it's water. It's going to move sand in and out. You see how it shapes things. We look at channels, spoil islands that get moved around, and the cut is in a different spot every time we have a storm. It's just part of nature. It's Mother Nature moving things around. But we do dredge, and I know they bring in the sand and they pump it in. They do it on Indian Rocks Beach, St. Pete Beach, Reddington Beach, all those. Everybody does it, so that people have a beach to go to.
At the end of the day,
we're not going to be. I don't see.
You don't think you'll be underwater?
We would listen. My house my school where I went to elementary school was on the beach. Literally, it was across the street. You could see the sand because there weren't high-rise condos there like there are now, and that school would be underwater if we went by the statistics that everybody says. Everything would be underwater. Gulf Boulevard would be underwater.
Right. Okay, here's another one. Okay, sinkhole risks. Expanding sinkhole activity in certain areas make properties unsafe and difficult to insure. There's been sinkholes through history of Florida. There's sinkholes pretty much everywhere. Yeah, pretty much everywhere. You can't determine where there's going to be a sinkhole. You can't say, well, this area is safe and this area is not. Right. It doesn't work like that. And a lot of people, are saying that, oh, that's a sinkhole house, but it's actually a depression. There's a difference in it, okay? Would I panic if, there was a bunch of sinkholes in an area, like a whole bunch? Yeah, maybe I'll be like, all right, you know what? Every other house has a sinkhole here. Maybe I won't buy it.
Yeah, I would even say this one seems to be prone to sinkholes for whatever reason. I might rethink that. And that's definitely going. If you get into that kind of a situation, that's definitely going to affect the value of the neighborhood.
Yeah, and people are going to panic. Like now, like on this house, if my neighbors had sinkholes, people would be like, "Hey, I don't know if I want to buy your house because of the sinkholes." So if they had sinkholes, that were kind of dramatic, like real sinkholes, I probably would say, like I said, I'm always going to be honest on the channel. I'd probably say, yeah, you know what, I'm going to sell this house. All right, what about this one? Okay, let's go to political and social factors. Strict new laws and regulations, changes in state laws, property taxes, Airbnb restrictions could prompt owners to sell. I know a couple of people that set up Airbnbs and they're not allowed anymore. Yeah,
that's a real thing, and I have those conversations not nearly as frequently as I did a few years ago when these laws were actually starting to change and these zoning issues were coming into play. But that's a real thing.
All right, so let's do a couple of rapid fires, okay? So homeowners associations, especially if you own a condo, it's panic selling because they think there's going to be a special assessment coming up. Okay, so they're like, most of them already came out.
Yeah, say the milestone reports and
we're
all
already
those things,
due.
We're due.
But let's just say there's rumbling going on that we have to do a roof or we have to do this, and there's going to be a special assessment of $10,000, $15,000, $20,000.
Well, you should really know that.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to have, the milestone reports done, and you should also have an actuary so that you know how well funded your budget is. So this is not a surprise, and this has been coming for 5 years. So that's why most of them have probably already come out, but it's a time to start. I know those meetings are boring, but sometimes it's important to get to those meetings so you know what's going on.
All right, here's one that's causing panic selling here in this particular area that I know about. Overbuilding and market saturation. There's a lot of new subdivisions going on here, okay? Right down the street, and I'm not talking about building a couple hundred homes. I'm talking about building a couple of thousand homes, okay? So people are like, wait a second, if they start building 2,000, 3,000 homes there, some subdivisions, even by you, are like 10,000 homes, aren't there?
That's small by me.
All right.
Yeah, it's insane.
So they're like, before they start building that, we should sell the house, and that's causing panic selling.
Well, and I would ask, why are you selling? Are you panic selling because you don't want to be in a congested area?
Yeah, a lot of people say too much construction and oversupply of homes is going to lead for prices to fall, causing panic selling.
We're still so far behind in this country on homes, like inventory of homes as a whole. Yes, things are taking longer to sell, but that doesn't fix the inventory problem.
Here's my 2 cents on that. There's plenty of homes for sale. There's very little affordable homes for sale.
There's a difference.
There's a difference. If you go to Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever, you're going to see thousands and thousands of homes for sale, okay? But scrape out the unaffordable homes, finding affordable homes, that's where the difficult part is, and that's what we're lacking. Anyways, that's today's video. Do me a favor, really consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. And check out this video right here. Picked it out just for you, and we'll talk to you in the next one.
See you on the next video. Thanks for watching.